Sergeant Arms will secure the doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President,
Senators, in this really, truly scary time for our country and for the entire globe, but most importantly in Europe and what is happening in Ukraine and the invasion by Russia, unprovoked, horrific tragedy, seemingly war crime level activity, it is now more than ever where we start to see things in a different perspective, and our mind becomes clear about what true oppression looks like. Today, we are so honored and pleased to be able to hear an invocation and remarks from Father Volodymyr Stiliak of the St. Andrew's Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral in Silver Spring, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from District 14. Would ask that members please rise for the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord God and Master of our life, on this opening day of the 443rd session of the Maryland Assembly, we ask you to grant us wisdom and guidance. With great humility in our hearts, we ask you to bless and protect all here present and everyone entrusted in our care. Lord God, look down upon with thy merciful eye upon the sorrow and gravely painful cry of our Ukrainian children, brothers and sisters. Deliver thy people from evil adversaries. Make to cease the spilling of blood and turn back the war set against them. Let us pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Отче наш, що єси на небесах, нехай святиться ім'я Твоє, нехай прийде царство Твоє, нехай буде воля Твоя, як на небі, так і на землі. Хліб наш насущний дай нам сьогодні, і прости нам провини наші, які ми прощаємо винуватцям нашим. І не веди нас у спокусу, але визволь нас від лукавого. Our Ukrainian brothers and sisters are peaceful and loving people. During these dark times, we pray to you to offer them protection, safety, health, shelter, and a safe roof upon them. Feed their body and soul, and leave not thine own flock during these dark times. Deprive our enemies of abilities to take lives, destroy cities and towns, and occupy a foreign land. With one heart and one mind, we pray to grant peace and strength to Ukraine and prevail against all evil enemies. For you are our loving God and peaceful God, and to you we ascribe glory now and forever. Amen. In closing, my beloved brothers and sisters, Ukrainians are good and loving people, and we are so blessed to be in such beautiful state, under such wonderful leadership. We love you, we respect you, we pray for you. We want two things. We want to ask you to pray for us, and we want to ask you to please support in every way you can. God has blessed you with wisdom and abilities, but also He put in you a good soul and good heart. And we ask you to put all that together and help us humanitarian supports. May God bless you all, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Mr. President.
Let me just say we will. We will. Chair recognizes the senator from the 14th District.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Father Stiliak, it's customary for senators to invite faith leaders for the opening morning services, opening prayer of the Senate proceedings. And I'm incredibly grateful that your cathedral resides in Legislative District 14. And on this truly solemn occasion, I'd like to offer that today, this morning, you're just not my guest, but you're the guest of the 47 other senators. Besides, I know, Father, besides you being the cathedral dean at St. Andrew's Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral, we also want to take this opportunity, although I know you're not here in this capacity, we want to thank you for your service as an Air Force captain and also as an installation chaplain at Joint Base Andrews. We also thank you very much for that very thoughtful and wise prayer. Please know that the Senate stands with the tens of thousands of Ukrainian Marylanders. We stand with the people of Ukraine against Russia and Putin's premeditated, unprovoked attack against them. Colleagues, this invasion of Ukraine became personal for my family last week as I explained to my son Benjamin how his great-great-grandfather, Benjamin Moses Zucker, immigrated from Ukraine. In fact, the entire Zucker family is originally from Bulichow in western Ukraine, and that area was under siege at the exact moment I was having the conversation with my 12-year-old son. Of course, one doesn't need to be from the Ukraine to be shocked by the scenes unfolding on TV and social media. We have all bared witness to the horrors of war caused by a dictator set on destruction. Yet out of the darkness of war, we see men and women fight for their country, and we stand in awe of their bravery and courage. Therefore, colleagues, this morning we pray for the people of Ukraine. We pray for peace, and we pray for victory over oppression. I believe when we look back at this moment in time, it will be said that at the break of dawn, it was the people of Ukraine who were the shining light. Mr. President, I move to journalize the Father's prayer.
Without objection, we will most certainly journalize the prayer and thank the Senator for those thoughtful and personal reflections on what is a true, unbelievable global travesty. Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that. And thank you, Father. Thank you so much. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Of course, Senators, this is all happening on Ash Wednesday, a day of reflection for those of us who practice the Catholic faith, and it's just a time of thinking about who we are as a people. Things become more and more clear each day about what really matters. All right, other introductions. Yes, Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you,
Majority
Mr.
Whip.
President. Colleagues, please give a warm welcome to our wonderful doctor today, Dr. Stephen Rockauer, who specializes in orthopedic medicine. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senators, we have with us today 2 pages in person, so we get to interact with them today. First of all, from Montgomery County District 16, Walter Johnson High School, Zini Leo. Zini, give her a warm welcome. Thank you. And then from Montgomery County District 16, Walter Johnson High School, Camille Larlou. So ladies, thank you for being with us, and you will have a wonderful opportunity to watch us in action up close. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to see you all. Those gray jackets make everybody feel back at home. It's wonderful. Other introductions? Just a quick note, administrative note, tonight at 6 o'clock, the Speaker and I will be joining the Governor for a vigil regarding the affairs in Ukraine. It will be out front, I believe, out front, and we will be lighting the dome in solidarity with the Ukrainian people, and in remembrance and commitment to the humanitarian effort that is to save people from oppression. So please feel free, if you are in town and around and not in committee, to come and join, but it should be a symbolic tribute, but symbols matter in times of great stress. So hopefully it'll be reflective of the priority that our aid is for the people of Ukraine. All right. Any other introductions or notes before we get started? Without objection, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We have some Introductory bills. This is calendar 50. Clerk will read the bills.
Senate Bill 994, Senator Eckert, Public Health, Mental Health Advanced Directives, Awareness and Statewide Database Rules.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. The bills will be referred to the Standing Committee on Rules. We have a message from the Governor. The clerk will read the message.
Dear Mr. President, I would like to withdraw Reggie J. Turner from nomination for Senate confirmation as a member of the Natalie M. LaPrada Medical Cannabis Commission and Dory Bishop Keslow, CPA, from nomination for Senate confirmation as a member of the University of Maryland Board of Regents. Please contact my appointments office if you have any questions. Sincerely, Lawrence J. Hogan, Jr., Governor. The letter is on the floor system.
The message having been read is ordered journalized and will be referred to the Committee on Executive Nominations. We have another message from the Executive. Clerk will read the message.
Dear President Ferguson, in accordance with Article 2, Section 13 of the Constitution of Maryland, I am pleased to submit appointment nominations for confirmation by the Maryland State Senate. These individuals bring exceptional knowledge and ability to the offices for which they have been nominated. I am confident they will provide the strength of experience and leadership to instill confidence among our citizens and ensure we succeed in our goals for Marylanders. Sincerely, Lawrence J. Hogan, Jr., Governor. This letter is also on the floor system.
All right, Senators, message having been read is ordered journalized. The nominations will be referred to the Committee on Executive Nominations. We have a lateover bill. This is lateover calendar number 10. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 255, Senator Vital, State Personnel Management System, Office of the Public Defender, Placement and Collective Bargaining. Question is on the adoption of the committee amendment and the favorable report.
All right, Senators, before the body is the committee amendment and the favorable report. On the amendment, the chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd District.
Questions on the amendment, ma'am?
Questions on the amendment? Will the floor leader yield? Let's see. Appears so. Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Morning, Senator. Now, this bill is converting at-will employees in the Office of Public Defender. Do you know across the state how many that there are?
There are several hundred employees in the Office of the Public Defender that would be affected by the legislation before us.
Are they all attorneys?
No.
Okay, how many attorneys?
I don't know offhand specifically, but the majority of them are in fact assistant public defenders, attorneys.
Assistant. Not stenographers, not investigators, not clerical.
Well, no, they are also in the office currently, but the majority are attorneys.
Okay, and this bill affects everyone that we've just mentioned.
To some degree, in one way or another, yes. It affects different employees within the office in different ways.
Yeah, it's a statewide bill, and it has a fairly clear message. Now, Senator, are there any adverse effects of allowing this bill to go through when it relates to hiring folks to become new attorneys in this office?
None whatsoever.
Okay. If I shared with you that an opening were to occur and there were 5 or more people in the applications at their scorecard of their abilities, was that testified to in the committee?
I apologize, I didn't quite follow the question there. Please, would you mind repeating the question?
no problem. The information I have is when there's an opening, people apply. When
Correct.
5 or more applicants for the one seat, they get scored, most proficient to least proficient. Will this bill affect the number of applicants, the type of applicants, and the selection process?
No, it will not.
Okay. The bill says, if I'm correct, that the only people who can apply for these positions are current licensed attorneys in the state of Maryland. Is that accurate?
No, it's not.
Who else can apply? For the
well,
attorney section, for the attorney section.
Then right now, to qualify, yes, you need to be a practicing attorney if you're looking to be an assistant public defender. That is correct.
And you're talking about today.
Correct.
Okay. What about third-year law students?
Can they be hired
Yes.
to be working until they get their degree, sort of as an intern position? Yes, they can.
Okay. Does this bill allow that practice to continue?
Yes, that can certainly continue. Just as we do right now for psychology students, for employees in corrections and probation, students who are prepared to graduate can come work. And then when they are licensed within their field, they can step right into those positions, having had the good experience of practicing.
Okay. Senator, I've been told there's about 400 core staff, which I would include as investigators, stenographers, clerical, things of that nature. How are they affected by this bill?
Well, the folks who are the administrative and clerical personnel, they are currently merit employees, and under this bill, they will be afforded the opportunity, if they choose to do so, to participate in collective bargaining.
Okay, so currently they have no organized representation.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, who will decide what bargaining units these members will be assigned to?
Well, the offices of the 4 different offices within the offices that we have existing now, they will go into one of those 4. As far as collective bargaining, that will depend entirely on which group chooses, if they want to seek participation in collective bargaining. That'll be up to the employees.
Is it accurate that the State Labor Relation Board generally does that assignment of personnel to unions? Sorry, collective bargaining units.
Not necessarily. And in fact, just last year we passed a bill here which does the exact same thing and assigns the employees to a specific group. In this case, it's Group F, which is other state employees who have very similar positions.
Okay. Now, what this bill proposes to do is take current at-will employees, attorneys, I'm going to focus on the attorney group, and put them in a bargaining unit. Is there any other attorneys that work for the state of Maryland that are currently in a bargaining unit, such as the Attorney General?
The Attorney General's office does not do this, so they are a different part of state government, and they do not afford this opportunity.
Will this cutting-edge change flow over to all these other departments who have attorneys who are currently at will?
I certainly can't opine on that, but with regard to this notion that it's cutting edge, I will share with all of you on the floor that there are 18 other states across the country that afford their assistant public defenders the opportunity to be represented by collective bargaining units. So it's not in the least bit cutting edge.
Okay. Vast majority don't, but 18 do.
I'm sorry?
The vast majority of the states do not allow it, but 18 states do.
18 states do.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator, for answering my questions.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, in this regard, my information is that across the state of Maryland, the Office of Public Defenders rely on third-year law students that get hired into the office to help do beginning work. Some of these are the best and the brightest, most motivated to defend the rights, the constitutional rights of our citizens. This bill indicates that in order to work for the Office of Public Defender, you must be a licensed attorney in the state of Maryland, and thereby remove a significant number of folks from the eligible pool. If we've got the top-ranked student out of a law school, and he's not eligible, but the posting is open, and we have other attorneys who come in who may have struggled in private practice, they're looking for a safe place to land, we may not always get the best and the brightest. I'm concerned about this. I have an amendment at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Senator. I think those are just the clerks, though. I did a summer at the AG's office. I think that's not for an attorney position to be licensed, but for what it may be. All right, any further discussion on the amendment? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Senator from the 33rd District has an amendment. We will collect the amendment. Give us just a moment to distribute. We have pages too to collect. Excellent. The real page experience is before us.
And this one young lady has her track sneakers on.
That's
so
it. That's
she's going to
the-
go fast.
Getting the steps in. All right, I think we are there. Senator may proceed, explain the amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'll wait till the kids in the cheap seats get their paper. The senator from Montgomery County is nodding his head. That was Senator Raskin's seat, power seat. Mr. President, this amendment helps to clarify an issue which I'm concerned about, and that is the current at-will appointees. This amendment says that they do not have to join a bargaining unit at this time, and their position would be eligible for a bargaining unit when they leave, there's a vacancy and they're replaced. This allows the Office of the Public Defender to do two things. Number one is once the public defender comes in, or the deputy, and they're hiring other attorneys for their office, and there's a changeover, there's a turnover at the top. Generally, these folks want to bring in their own folks, people they trust, people they know about their work product. This particular bill would kind of prevent that turnover from happening. This at least allows the current the person in charge of the office of the defense attorney to at least continue to allow decisions about at-will people. And now once that person leaves, then it would become part of the bargaining unit. So would ask for a favorable amendment, a favorable motion on the amendment.
All right, senators move the amendment. Chair recognizes the floor leader on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I will ask that you please resist this amendment. I thank the sponsor for having provided a copy to me when we came to the floor, so I had an opportunity to take a look at it and fully understand what it does, and more importantly, does not do. And in addressing my request that you resist the amendment, I will share with you that yesterday, my good friend got up on the floor and he asked me a reasonable question: who brought this bill to the committee? And quite frankly, it was the bill sponsor. But I decided, you know what, upon reflection, let me do a little research and try to get a better handle on why this bill was brought to the committee by the sponsor. So I met with the sponsor and we had a good discussion about it. And colleagues, I will share that information with you. The folks in the Office of the Public Defender work exceedingly hard to represent the indigent families and clients here in the state that they go in and give an opportunity to have good representation in our courts. The problem is these hard-working women and men came to the bill sponsor and said, look, we're overworked, we're underpaid, we don't understand why there are actions taken to punish us, we don't understand why some of our colleagues are fired without any reason or logic, and we are reaching out to the Maryland General Assembly to give us some opportunity for potential relief. And that could possibly come by being represented by a collective bargaining unit, as I mentioned is done in 18 other states. So then, with some further investigation, I discovered that our Department of Legislative Services, in its analysis of the fiscal year 2023 Maryland executive budget, opined on this very problem within the Office of the Public Defender. And here's what they had to offer on this issue within that office. Vacancies high, particularly among more experienced attorneys. The 97, listen to that, the 97 positions vacant at the end of calendar 2021 reflect a nearly 25% increase in vacancies compared to the same time 1 year ago. Not surprisingly, nearly 3/4 of the current vacancies are attorney positions. In bold, they have the following. OPD should comment on these vacancies and the impact that they are having on its operations and the ability of indigent Marylanders to access legal representation. The words of our independent Department of Legislative Services. And then they continue. OPD attorney compensation and retention troubles rise. OPD is having trouble attracting and retaining qualified attorneys and support personnel. That's why this bill is before us. During the 2021 session, OPD was asked to provide a joint chairman's report on public defender pay and benefits. And the report asked that there be a comparison between our Office of the Public Defender and those in Virginia and the federal and Washington, D.C. governments. And you know what they found? And it won't be shocking.
All right, Senator, if we could
I got it. Thank
get
you,
to
sir.
the amendment.
OPD should comment on the lower compensation that OPD attorneys receive compared to peer agencies and its impact on turnover rates. Colleagues, that's why the bill is before us. That's why I'll ask you to resist this amendment, because we need to keep the best and the brightest and recruit the best and the brightest, which is not happening now. And we don't want to keep losing good, experienced attorneys who are overworked and overburdened, and we don't want to create a two-tier system where some of our attorneys in that office benefit from the opportunity to have collective bargaining, and the most senior ones, the ones we want to keep, will not. I ask you to please resist the amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the maker of the amendment.
Thank you very much. Senator, that was a tremendous discussion focused on our our Budget and Taxation Committee. You are absolutely right they're underpaid. They're absolutely right they're overworked. But here's the issue. If we have 100 cases a week assigned to somebody, and all of a sudden, arbitrarily, we reduce it to 75 cases a week because of a collective bargaining agreement, the constitutional right for defense gets pushed back. I think the budget should be changed. I think more people should be hired at a higher rate. This bill doesn't discuss that. At will, Mr. President, at will hiring and firing is a privilege of executives, of people in command, and you're not going to tell us why someone left. So for an attorney to be released without explanation doesn't surprise me in the least. We probably shouldn't know the reasons behind someone being let go. And the workload is a problem. I fully agree with it. I don't think this bill addresses that issue. Would request a favorable motion on my amendment and a roll call vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the amendment, Chair recognizes the senator from the 32nd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to mention of the 561 positions that are attorneys in the Office of Public Defender, 3 have been terminated in 3 years. Obviously, these are hardworking, competent people, and this amendment and the discussion from our friend from District 33 would reflect that maybe we can't terminate if we do collective bargaining, but that's not been the issue. And even the testimony we have from the Office of Public Defender discusses how hardworking and competent they are. This is not about terminating, at will. These are great attorneys that are hardworking, and I think we need to pass this bill to help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the amendment, without any further discussion, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 28 votes in the negative, the senator's amendment fails. Are there any further amendments? Seeing none, Senate Bill 255 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. All right, next we have layover calendar number 11. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 419, Senator Feldman, Opioid Restitution Fund, appropriation of settlement funds. Question is on the adoption of the committee amendment and the favorable report.
All right, question is on the adoption of the committee amendment. I know this was one that we had a lot of questions on. Chair recognizes Senator from District 4.
Yeah, I would just ask, I did get a chance to talk to the Attorney General yesterday. I'm waiting on feedback on a potential amendment. I would just ask that we special order for one more day.
Presume there's, Chair recognizes the floor.
That's fine.
No objection from the committee. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. All right, now we get into the large stack. We've got Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. Report number 15. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 4, Senator Hester, Cybersecurity Scholarship Program, Alterations in Maryland Cybersecurity Loan Assistance Repayment Program Establishment, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, Senate Bill 4 expands the Cybersecurity Public Service Scholarship Program by allowing part-time students to apply under specified conditions, increasing the number of years an individual may hold an award, and expanding the positions that fulfill the program's work and teaching obligations. The State Department of Education must provide information on the scholarship to certain high school students. It also makes a technical change to clarify the conditions. Is this coming in and out?
It seems like it is going in and out.
I would assume on a controversial bill that would happen, but this is really not a very controversial bill.
We're checking on it now.
I think we're good now.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it also makes a technical change to clarify the conditions under which a student must repay the Higher Education Commission. There are 2 amendments, Mr. President.
Why don't we try if we switch the mic here and see. Technically, this is not allowed if there's no objections.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That works.
There are 2 amendments. The first one is a technical change. The second one strikes a provision creating the Loan Assistance Repayment Program and requires the Office of Student Financial Assistance to develop guidelines instead of regulations clarifying the work obligation of the scholarship award recipient who are part-time students. I don't believe there was any opposition to the bill. I move the 2 committee amendments and favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 4 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 152, Senator Kramer, Institution of Higher Education Transcripts, Prohibition on Punitive Measures Related to Student Debt, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill prohibits a public institution of higher education from refusing to provide a current or former student with a transcript or taking other punitive measures regarding the student's transcript request because the student owes a debt over $1,000 to the institution if the student enters into an installment plan within a certain period of time. A debt does not include the fee charged to a student for the factual cost of providing a transcript, but it may charge a higher transcript fee to a student who owes a debt. Let me go over the amendments and explain the bill if I could, more detailed. Amendment 1 makes technical changes. Amendment 2 changes the bill, makes the bill applicable to higher public institution of higher education and requires the Institute of Higher Education to allow students with an unpaid balance of $1,000 or more to request and receive a transcript if the student enters into an installment plan. And in a moment, Mr. President, I'll move the two amendments. Ladies and gentlemen, basically, there's been a big debate about student debt. We know on the national level of forgiving student debt. Currently, unfortunately, there are some students who go into debt and don't repay that debt even when they're offered or provided a payment plan. So the issue becomes, can the institution withhold giving that student a transcript when they apply for a job? And some universities have said, look, we need as many tools as we can to try to recoup our money. So while they try to work with a student who owes money, in some cases they say, look, you owe us $4,000 or $8,000, we tried a payment plan, you've reneged, we're not going to help you out here. There's a similar policy in place when a student at a university, public university, goes to, at semester, request their courses and pay their tuition for that semester. If they owe less than $250, they can proceed with their enrollment. But if it's more, the university is going to say, slow down here a minute. You owe us a fair amount of money. We're not going to let you continue along that path. What this bill does, and it was based on an amendment from the University System of Maryland, is trying to put it in the same posture as what happens if they owe before they enroll in the next semester. The committee said, if you are in arrears over $1,000 and you are not in a payment plan, the university can, they don't have to, may withhold providing you a copy of the transcript until you get into a payment plan or start repaying some of the money. So, Mr. President, that's what the bill does. That's the purpose. Move adoption of the two committee amendments, favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is amended, is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 152 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 158, Senator Kagan, State Board of Elections, Contracts and Invoices Requirements, favorable with three amendments. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As our wonderful reading clerk indicated, this is an emergency bill. It's also one of the top 4 priorities of the Maryland Association of Counties because it will provide guardrails in terms of cost of election equipment or services. There are 3 amendments. The first is technical. The second strips out, unfortunately, transparency and procurement. It just wasn't time to do that. But Amendment 3 adds provisions that have been uncodified in our books for 21 years that requires a 50-50 split between the state and the county. As you all may know, last week the Board of Public Works approved a $24 million expenditure by the State Board of Elections. Our counties need to plan for the cost of their elections, and so this bill would enable them to have guarantees on that. This bill passed unanimously. I'd like to move the favorable report as amended, Mr. President.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 3 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 158 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 288, Senator Eckert, Talbot County Board of Education, election of officers, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill requires the Talbot County Board of Education to elect a president and a vice president from among its members at the last meeting at the end of each calendar year or at the meeting in December each year, which is a change from electing those members in January. It's a local bill. There were no amendments. I'd like to move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 288 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 379, Senator Patterson, Caroline County, Charles County, and Prince George's County Boards of Education, removal of member, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 379 seeks to repeal the requirement that the governor must have the decision to remove a school member from operation as a school board member. Basically, what this bill is a cleanup bill. We simply want to get all school board members on the same page, so this bill will simply just say that now the State Board of Education can make recommendations and remove the member at will, rather than perhaps going recommendation and a final decision by the governor. There were no amendments, no financial impact, no opposition, and so, Mr. President, I move the adoption of a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 379 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, we've got another Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs, calendar 16. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 299, Senator Young, Education, Public and Non-Public Schools, Seizure Action Plans, Brindley's Act, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, this deals with seizure disorders and how much knowledge our teachers and our staffs in our public schools should have. Nearly 8,000 young people have a seizure disorder. I made a quick calculation. That comes out to about 5 or 5.5 students per school across the state. So it's not just, it could happen. There are students who have a seizure disorder. So the question comes up, are our teachers prepared to address it? I know when I was in college or near the end of college, I was in a social situation, someone went down with a seizure, and people start looking at each other, what I do, and do you put a pencil, so they don't chew on their tongue. Of course, that was not the right thing to do, as we've learned, but we find ourselves in those situations. So what this bill calls for, as amended, is at least 2 staff members, hopefully the school nurse or someone who does nursing type work in the school, and somebody else get trained, and there's training, which is not super extensive, in every school. And then, as amended, it requires those 2 people who are trained in the school to, using a staff meeting or a professional development day, do an abridged version to the staff so they have the basic understanding of what to do if it happens in their classroom. Look, it came in more extensive. It called for some hours of training for all teachers. We know teachers have an onerous responsibility and a lot on their plates, and we wanted to reduce that pressure on them to do additional training beyond the school day. We think we've reached a fair balance, in terms of having 2 professionals trained extensively and the staff given a brief training so they can address this if it appears in their school or their classroom. There are 2 amendments. The first one makes technical changes. Amendment 2 revises the training requirements to require the school nurse or other healthcare practitioner to take in-depth seizure symptoms recognition, and the school personnel who receive that in-depth training present an abridged version to school personnel during certain hours, including certain bus personnel. It revises the enabling authority for non-public schools to make it consistent with changes to the public school requirements. Mr. President, move adoption of the 2 committee amendments, favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 299 is hereby ordered, printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 436, Carroll County Senators, Carroll County Board of Education, Member Compensation, and Student Representative. Favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a local Carroll County bill that would increase the compensation for the members of the Carroll County Board of Education by $4,000 beginning with their next term in office. Under the bill, the board president would receive $13,000 annually, and the other voting board members $12,000 annually. The bill also prohibits the student board member from serving more than 1 term. There were no amendments. I'd like to move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 436 is hereby ordered, printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 478, Senator Hester, Career and Technical Education Committee, Alterations. Favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Prince George's as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 478 requires that the Career and Technical Education Committee, 1, include representatives of skilled trade organization, 2, encompass skilled trade organization and career colleges among the representatives, and 3, develop the list of skilled trade organizations in developing a guide that will be distributed with and among the students. There were no amendments, no opposition, no financial impact, and therefore, Mr. President, I move for adoption of favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, chair recognizes the senator from the 21st.
And I'd appreciate laying the bill over under the rule to take a look at it.
Senator, that would be out of order. There are no amendments on the bill.
Okay.
Special order for a day?
Special order for a day.
Floor leader?
That's fine.
Any objections?
That's fine.
Thank you very
No
much.
objections to the senator's motion. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 510, Senator Bido, Anne Arundel County Board of Education, Member Compensation. Favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you. This is a local bill that increases the compensation for the Anne Arundel Board of Education. The president will make $20,000, vice president will make $19,000, and all other members will make $18,000. There were no amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 510 is hereby ordered, printed for 3rd reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 617, Senator Zucker, Local School Systems Equivalent Access Standards Digital Tools, Non-Visual Access Accountability Act for K through 12 Education. Favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes senator from the 43rd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This legislation is designed to ensure that there is equivalent access to educational resources, those that are procured by our local school systems for students with disabilities, specifically including blindness and visual impairment, are equitable and protected. The problem is that sometimes companies provide educational technology and they describe it inaccurately. And so a school system might purchase something and believe that it is appropriate just for those who are visually impaired or for a number of different disabilities. And then when the schools, they do their best to check. And then when the school system acquires it, they may find that they have inadvertently purchased the wrong product. Now, some companies are great. They're like, right, fine, we'll refund it. Others are more resistant. And so what SB 617 does is it creates a civil liability for a vendor that does not legally meet the mandated equivalent access standards and refuses to fix the product in a timely manner. The legislative text has been updated. It was put in last year to allow a longer implementation period. It protects state and local boards of education should a tool not meet equivalent access. And also, you should know that it's the result of a great deal of work with advocates, school systems, vendors, and other stakeholders. There are 2 committee amendments. The first one makes a short change to the title of the bill. The second makes various clarifying changes to terminology throughout the bill. It provides a definition of digital tools, in case you were wondering what that means. It means an online platform, a course, information, or communication technology. It also provides an evaluation process for the digital tools, allowing for the use of a particular by particular contractors, and it indemnifies our county boards as well as our state board of education, and also it does a technical change to fix an incorrect cross-reference. The bill was voted unanimously by the committee, and we ask for your adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader has moved for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 617 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. I think that does it for that calendar. Let's take the last one here from Education, Health, Environmental Affairs. This is number 17. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 61, Senator Zucker, Maryland Transit Administration conversion to zero-emission buses, Zero-Emission Bus Transition Act revisions, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the Committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is simply a follow-up to a bill we passed last year. The body has already been clear that we want zero-emission buses. This just says that you have to train the staff and give them, we're going to have registered apprenticeship and labor management training program related to these zero-emission buses. It passed unanimously. There were no committee amendments. Move the favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District.
Just floor leader yield for a quick
Floor leader
question.
yield. Pure so. Senator may proceed.
So we told them they got to buy electric buses, and now we're telling them we have to train the people to use those buses? Is that what we're saying?
That's correct.
Do we really feel that's necessary?
Apparently we do. There are some technical challenges with that. It's a modest fiscal note, but we do want to make sure that there are opportunities. It also is about registered apprenticeships, so we can get young people to have a new career path in this.
We had a career path in non-electric buses, and we were doing fine there, and now we got electric buses. I assume that the people, the good leaders of that operation will be reasonably intelligent enough to at least copy what they had before and run a good operation. Why, is that not a legitimate assumption?
Mr. President?
I'm going to defer to the sponsor of the bill.
We will.
With the floor
Chair
leader.
recognizes the floor leader yields to the bill sponsor. Senator may proceed to answer the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President. To the senator's question, the Department of Transportation believes that it's necessary to train its workforce, and they support that provision of the bill. They plan to do that. So this is just going along with what they already plan to do, and they're really appreciative that we're codifying into law.
So the Department of Transportation felt that it was a good idea for us to put in law to tell them what they already agree they need to do?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On the report, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 61 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 230, Senator Jackson, Health Occupations, Service Members, Veterans, and Military Spouses, Temporary Licensure, Certification, registration, and permitting, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Howard and Baltimore counties. As
Thank
the
you,
floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 230 requires each health occupations board to issue an expedited temporary license, certificate, registration, or permit to a service member, veteran, or military spouse who meets specified requirements. There are 2 committee amendments. The first is technical and adds co-sponsors. Amendment number 2 broadens the definition of military spouse and service member. It removes the authorization for a health occupations practitioner who's held a valid license, certificate, registration, or permit for under a year to receive an expedited license. It requires each applicant for an expedited temporary license to have met substantially similar qualifications. It alters the criminal history check procedures and requires the Department of Health to submit 2 reports on expedited temporary licensing. Move the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 230 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 269, Senator Kagan, Open Meetings Act application and enhanced requirements. Maryland State Agency Transparency Act of 2022, favorable with 3 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, for the last several years, we have passed laws that basically codified the current practice during COVID that has been new, and we want to make sure that agencies and departments continue to be transparent. They need to post the agenda and meeting materials at least 48 hours in advance. They need to live stream their meetings, and then they need to post the minutes after they've been approved. So we have been sort of carefully rolling this out, making sure that it was feasible, and we have added several more agencies to to be covered by this. There are 3 amendments. The first amendment made technical changes. The second one removed MAIF, the Maryland Automobile Insurance Fund, at their request because they are the only agency that we've looked at that actually gets no state funding, and they function as kind of a private insurance company. They also do have oversight, and so they asked to be removed, and we agreed with that. We also added by oversight TEDCO, the Technology Development Corporation, and we also allowed that if they had a site visit of some sort, that they wouldn't have to, drag along video equipment. So if there was a site visit, a field trip with no policy work being done and no decisions being made, we thought it was okay to let them off the hook. Amendment 3 just says, allows for some flexibility in terms of some of the meeting materials that can be complex and hard to upload. With that, this bill passed unanimously, and I move the favorable report as amended.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 3 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Chair recognizes Senator from St. Mary's on the report.
I have an amendment.
Let's just one moment. Any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is amended is adopted. Senator from the 29th has an amendment. If we could collect the senator's amendment pages, if we could distribute the amendment. And Senator, just give us one moment to get it out. Senator may proceed on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, in today's world, as we just heard from the floor leader and the sponsor of this bill, transparency is imperative. It is imperative when we have commissions, when we act in our official government capacity, that we are all as transparent as possible. This is a very simple amendment. It adds the historic St. Mary's City Commission to this bill. And I ask in the spirit of transparency to adopt this amendment.
All right, Senator has moved the amendment. Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Mr. President, the good senator from District 29 has talked to me about this issue a number of times. We think transparency is good, and this is a friendly amendment.
All right, committee sees the amendment as favorable. Are there any objections to the senator's amendment? Seeing none, without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 269 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 372, Senator Kagan, Environment, Coal Tar Sealant Products, Prohibitions, Safer Sealant Act of 2022, favorable with 3 amendments.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, Senate Bill 372 restricts the sale and use of certain high PAH driveway sealant products in the state beginning October 2023. The bill does not prohibit a county or municipality or state government from enacting stronger legislation. There are 3 amendments. First one is technical. Amendment 2 alters the bill to apply to all sealant products containing more than 1% PAH, and I'm going to tell you what PAH is in a moment, by weight, and clarifies that the bill does not apply to the use of sealant products at airports, federal facilities, or military facilities. Amendment 3 strikes language that would have required the department to develop labeling standards for coal tar sealant products and alters the bill's provision. Earlier this week, it was explaining PFAS. Now I have another chemical. I didn't do that great in chemistry. PAH is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. You who are interested in the letters. Ladies and gentlemen, there have been numerous reports, even from people in the industry, that breathing is difficult, irritation, skin rashes, and there have been also some reported links to cancer, although I can't give you 12 reports on that. There is an alternative to the high PAH, particularly in coal tar. There is liquid petroleum, there's asphalt sealant. 3 counties have already moved in this direction, including Howard, Montgomery, and a third, I'm not sure, Anne Arundel or Prince George's, I'm not sure. This is just to move forward on this. You know, earlier this week we talked about protecting firefighters. We want to do this in a thoughtful way. We added some amendments to make sure it wasn't restricting anything to be able to do sealant on your driveway effectively. We think we've, again, we strike a decent balance here. So, Mr. President, I would move the 3 committee amendments, favorable committee report. You know, we had a bill last year, it died on sine die. We tried to move it last year, so it came back. We had more time. We think we've got to correct this time. Move the amendments.
All right, Senator moves the 3 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since we just getting this bill, I'd like to lay it over under the rule.
Senator's motion is in order. The bill and the amendment will be laid over under the rule. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 494, Senator Pinsky, Maryland Energy Administration, Energy and Water Efficiency Standards, Alterations, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been working with the Energy Administration here in Maryland, and this bill puts a few more products that are used in the state to an energy efficiency level that will reduce the use of our energy, particularly the fossil fuels. We've worked on this for 2 years. The bill replaces existing energy efficiency standards for a number of products and water efficiency standard authorization requirements for a new list of products. We're talking about electric vehicle supply equipment, CRI, fluorescent lamps, portable electric spas, air purifiers, commercial dishwashers, commercial steam cookers, faucets, and a longer list, shower heads. And there is 1 amendment. It makes technical and clarifying changes to certain definitions. We went down this path about 10 or 15 years ago. We dealt with walk-in refrigerators and a number of utilities and products. And ultimately, I think a year and a half later, the federal government actually adopted the very same one. So working with the administration, which might be a shocker, we've come to agreement on adding these products to the state's list of energy efficiency. So with that, Mr. President, I would move the 1 committee amendment and favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 494 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 611, Senator Vital, State Board of Dental Examiners, Membership Training and Disciplinary Processes. Revisions favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator from Anne Arundel as floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a decades-long problem with our dental board. We actually had a dentist in the northern Anne Arundel County area that was under investigation for 13 years before they finally pulled his license. This is a comprehensive bill sponsored by our good friend from northern Anne Arundel County to help address membership training and disciplinary process for the State Board of Dental Examiners. The bill alters several provisions of the Dental Practice Act, including the nomination process for the State Board of Dental Examiners, board member training requirements. It also alters disciplinary actions, including the process of issuing final decisions against the licensee. 2 committee amendments. One was technical. The second repeals provisions in the bill that add requirements to a dentist and constituent member board seats, removes provisions requiring the solicitation for vacancies to be submitted from an additional dental-related organization, restores the current nomination process for board vacancies by removing language that would have required the names of all nominees to be submitted to the governor. No fiscal impact, passed the committee unanimously, request a favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 611 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 626, Senator Griffith, Maryland Loan Assistance Repayment Program for Physicians and Physician Assistants Alterations, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator from Charles County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this bill simply alters the existing Maryland Loan Assistance Repayment Program for physicians and physicians' assistants. So you might ask, what are the alterations? Well, this bill makes the program available to part-time physicians and physicians' assistants, and of course they will get a prorated amount of the loan repayment. This bill also creates the Maryland Loan Assistance Repayment Program Advisory Council for physicians and physicians' assistants to seek funds and to make sure this necessary program is working well as could be. There is 1 committee amendment which adds a co-sponsor, and therefore I move for adoption of the amendment and favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 626 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, we got through that quickly. On to judicial proceedings, calendar number 8. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 357, Senator Benson, Adult Protective Services, Vulnerable Adults Registry, Investigation and Records of Abuse and Neglect, and Work Group Study, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 23rd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill has been taken up in various incarnations from 2013, 2015, as well as 2020 and 2021. This bill, as amended, establishes a work group to study best practices for a vulnerable adult registry in Maryland. There are 2 committee amendments. First one is technical. The second strikes the provision in the bill other than the work group. The membership of the work group is altered, and the reporting date for the work group is changed to June 1st, 2023. This bill sunsets after a period of 2 years. I move the adoption of the amendments and ask for a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, chair recognizes the minority leader.
Yes, if the floor leader would yield.
Floor leader yields. Senator may
Yes.
proceed.
So I just pulled this up. It looked like it was like 16 pages. And you said this established a work group. I think it came into something else. Did it establish it, or did it just put a new member on there? Or a requirement?
It establishes the work group.
Okay, so this is a completely new work group?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion on the 2 amendments? The committee amendments, If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 357 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 377, Senator Lee, marriage records, name change, favorable.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor
Thank you,
leader.
Mr. President. Ask we just special order this to the end of the calendar.
End of the calendar, end of the day. End of the calendar.
Under this calendar, please.
All right. Are there any objections? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the end of the calendar. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 435, Senator Huff, family law, preventing or interfering with a report of suspected sexual abuse of a child, statute of limitations, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This bill establishes that an individual who intentionally prevents or interferes with the making of a report of suspected sexual abuse of a child by a mandatory reporter may be prosecuted any time for the violation. So it's already a crime in the state of Maryland if you intentionally prevent or interfere with a report of a mandatory report of sex abuse. This just changes the statute of limitations so you can go back criminally at any time and prosecute it. There are no committee amendments. We actually passed this bill unanimously last year. I'd move the favorable committee report.
All right. Excuse me. Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 435 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 439, Senator Carrozza, Somerset County, local officials, salaries and daily allowance for traveling expenses, favorable.
439. Senator from the 34th, maybe? From Harford County? Floor leader? We're looking for a floor leader. All right, let's special order. If there are no objections, we'll special order the bill to the end of the calendar today. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 449, Senator Smith, unlawful employment practices, remedies, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our apologies, we're a little rusty. It's been a couple days for our reports here. But Senate Bill 449 increases the limitations on the amount of compensatory and punitive damages that may be awarded for an unlawful employment practice or for sexual harassment. So these caps have not been changed since 2007. They're tagged to inflation. There is 1 committee amendment. It adds co-sponsors, so it asks for the adoption of the 1 amendment and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment's adopted. Now on the amended report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 449 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 451, Senator Smith, unlawful employment practice, statute of limitations, tolling, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill establishes that the time limitations for which a person may file civil action in circuit court alleging for an unlawful employment practice or discrimination is tolled while you go through the administrative process. Right now, you have to exhaust the administrative process. You have to wait at least 180 days before you go to circuit court. So what this does is it tolls that claim while you're going through the administrative process. There's 1 committee amendment which added co-sponsors. I asked for the adoption of the favorable committee report and the 1 committee amendment.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment's adopted. Now on the amended report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 451 is hereby ordered printed for the third reader. Let's go. We have two special ordered at the end of this. Let's start with the first one here. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 377, Senator Lee, marriage records, name change, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. SB 377, this bill just establishes specified procedures and requirements for the issuance of a new marriage record when the name of the party to the marriage has been changed. There are no committee amendments. Move favorable, the committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 377 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. One more special order bill. The clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 43.
Yep. That's it.
Senate Bill 439. No. Senate Bill 439, Senator Carrozza, Somerset County local official, salaries and daily allowance for travel and expenses, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th as the floor leader.
Thanks, Mr. President. Apologize for being not quite up on this one. This is a local bill that just simply increases the salaries for certain elected certain officials in Somerset County. There are no committee amendments. Unanimous vote in the committee. Move the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 439 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Onwards to Report 9 from Judicial Proceedings. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 31, Senator Signal, Public Information Act, inspection of records from body-worn digital recording devices, favorable.
Chair recognizes bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill sets forth the circumstances under which custodian of records, in accordance with the Maryland's Public Information Act, must deny or allow inspection of recordings from the body-worn digital recording devices worn by law enforcement officers. The bill's provisions do not apply to the public record that has been entered into evidence in the court proceeding and may not be construed to affect the discovery or evidentiary rights of a party to a civil suit or criminal prosecution. This bill was passed unanimously by this body last year and just got caught up over in the House. The committee vote was unanimous. Mr. President, I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 31 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 33, Senator Lee, criminal law, sexual crimes, repeal of spousal defense, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 33, as amended, this bill repeals an exemption for prosecution of specified sex crimes if, at the time of the alleged rape or sexual offense, the person was the victim's legal spouse. The bill also establishes that the purposes for Section 3-308B1 of the criminal law article, in the case of 2 individuals engaged in an ongoing consensual sexual relationship, sexual conduct does not include physical conduct commonly engaged by 2 individuals in a sexual relationship unless one of the individuals has reasonably indicated to the other that further physical contact is unwanted. This bill is identical to SB 250 that passed last year from 47 to 0. There are 2 committee amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 establishes definitional language pertaining to 4th-degree sexual offense as specified. Move the committee report with amendments.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 33 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 83, Senator Kagan, criminal law, public safety interference with a public safety answering point, penalties, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill prohibits a person from committing a violation of Section 7-302 of the Criminal Law Article with the intent to interrupt or impair the functioning of a public safety answering point. In other words, we're trying to stop people from interfering with 911 calls. There are two amendments. One is technical. The second alters the prohibition under the bill. Mr. President, I move the adoption of the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Now on the amended report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 83 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 446, Senator Wallstreicher, Public Safety, Fire, Rescue, or Emergency Medical Services, Entities, Peer Support Programs, favorable with one amendment.
It's a good one. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill, with specified exceptions, prohibits the disclosure of contents of any written or oral communication regarding the peer support counseling session by a peer support specialist. By October 2024, the Behavioral Health Administration, in consultation with the Maryland Institute of Emergency Medical Services System, must develop a report of best practices. There was one amendment. It's technical. I'd move for the adoption of the one amendment in the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. On the amended report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 446 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 447, Senator Wallstreicher, Corporations and Associations, Use or Maintenance of Improper or Outdated Addresses and Documents, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill prohibits the use or maintenance of an improper or outdated address in documents filed with SSTAT. The bill authorizes a person listed as the owner for real property in the department's records to file an affidavit with the department stating that the property's address is being used improperly by another. There are no committee amendments. It passed the committee unanimously and move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 447 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 559, Senator Wallstreicher, Estates and Trusts, Supported Decision-Making, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill authorizes 1, the use of supported decision-making, 2, establishes a process for entering into such an agreement, and 3, outlines the role of a supporter, 4, establishes a specified immunity for that third party acting in compliance with the agreement. There were 2 amendments. One is technical. Amendment number 2 specifies that an agreement does not supplant the authority of a power of attorney. I'd move for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 559 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Senators, I just have to make a quick note. It is the first week of March. We just went through 2 full JPR calendars, and we didn't have a single question. All the amendments were worked out in committee. This was, I just want to thank the members of JPR. This was clearly, they've been doing some work in that committee, and just appreciate what's, this is solid. Nothing before the body, Senator, I made sure to wait until it was gone, all right, we've got a special order. This is number 27. Clerk will read the special order.
Senate Bill 77, Senator West, Health Occupations Boards, Investigations, Right to Counsel. Question is on the adoption of the amendment offered from the floor by Senator Eckert.
All right, Senators, the question is on the floor amendment. Can we remind us what the amendment does? If Chair recognizes the floor leader on the bill?
Well, I'll yield to the maker of the amendment so she can.
If the maker of the amendment could just give us a quick synopsis.
Thank you very much. This bill, as it came in, as I understood, it would allow the right to counsel at the various investigations in the health occupation boards. And I guess my question was, in the beginning, what kind of evidence of a major problem did we have? Because as I understand the bill, it applies to all the health occupation boards. And I know in the Board of Nursing, and we heard today, I think about the Board of Dentistry, that we already have a pretty active disciplinary process in place and an investigation process that has worked really well. My concern then was that this may further hamstring those boards to be able to perform their responsibility of assuring safety to the public by making sure that those investigations were done in a timely fashion and there was some kind of resolution. For additional counsel to participate in this process, as I understand the bill, may further impede that process, since there already is counsel permitted in the process as already in law prior to this bill. So I proposed an amendment that was on the floor that would say that yes, legal counsel is already present as long as they are not being disruptive with a lot of questioning, and that's further explained in the amendment. And then to allow each health occupation board to adopt specific regulations to carry out this section that was offered in the original bill. I find that to be only reasonable. I think it's a dangerous practice to create a one-size-fits-all if the problem is not clearly identified and there isn't a plan of correction if there is a problem in one specific board. So I am offering that amendment. I would continue to move that amendment, to press that amendment, and urge you to vote for it.
Thank you, Senator. All right, let's hear from the floor leader on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank the maker of the amendment for sharing that with me, and I absolutely appreciate her sentiments and concerns and hard work on our boards. We see a lot of each other in our committees. But for this amendment, I'm going to ask you to resist it because essentially it removes council's ability to ask questions of the licensee and allows the council to only ask clarifying questions. And in the bill as amended, we already retain the ability for someone to be removed if they are disruptive. So again, we're just asking, again, appreciate it, but we believe this amendment strips the bill of its intent.
All right, on the amendment, Chair recognizes the senator from the 42nd District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. President, I'm the sponsor of the bill. These investigatory hearings are absolutely critical. As a result of these hearings, a licensed medical professional could lose his or her license to practice his or her profession. There's no more critical proceeding for a licensed medical professional than these hearings. And it's essential that they be accorded full due process rights, namely the ability to be represented by counsel at these hearings. In court, people can be represented by counsel and they could lose their freedom. In these hearings, people who are not represented by counsel could lose their ability to practice medicine. So this amendment, I call it the potted plant amendment. The bill itself provides that lawyers can attend the hearings and participate in them on behalf of their clients. What this amendment would do is remove the language "and participate in," meaning that the lawyer would have no more right to do anything than attend the hearing and sit next to the potted plant in the corner and not participate in the hearing. That doesn't make any sense. So I urge that this amendment be resisted.
All right, on the amendment, are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the maker of the amendment.
Thank you very much. With all due respect to my colleague, I beg to disagree. I would agree with you if all the boards handled it the same way. But I think on further scrutiny, if you looked at how each board did their investigative process, you would find that they have variations on that theme. So once again, if counsel, for instance, is already a part of the nursing board's process, why are we adding an additional step in that? the concern from one of the boards is that they will have to go out and find counsel for all of the backlog of folks that they already have that need to be investigated, that it will further slow down the very process that you want to remedy, which is to assure safety to the public. Because each one of those cases that has been sitting there with no investigation and no action, that impacts that person's practice as well, and it jeopardizes the safety of the public. So I would again ask you to support this amendment.
All right. Any senators who have not yet spoken wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Again, thank you. And again, the committee is sympathetic and understands, but I will ask the board to resist. We have to balance the backlog, which is a management issue, with the basic right to counsel. And right now, there is no right to counsel specified in state statute or in regulations for licensees or certificate holders. And again, given the severity of one losing their license, being brought up in charges, again, I ask you to resist this amendment because it's providing a basic right to our licensees who are currently operating on all of our boards. Thank you.
All right, on the amendment, Chair recognizes the senator from the 25th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure if this is in order. I have some confusion. I've heard from both sides, but I want to make sure I understand the amendment. Is it possible to lay the amendment and the bill over, or is it already been?
The layover wouldn't be in order. A special order
How
would
could we?
be.
Yeah, I'd just like some
Senators
time to.
move to special order the bill until.
The appropriate time tomorrow?
Any objections, or the floor leader on the motion?
Okay, so third time's a charm. So I hope we can take care of this tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I apologize, but thank you for that courtesy.
No problem. It's important to get it right.
All right, no objections. Are there any objections? Chair recognizes Senator
Sure.
from the 41st District.
Mr. President, it seems like for the last month, I've had a proposed amendment that's a friendly amendment to the bill. Should I just reserve it when we take it back up after the special order, or can I offer my amendment?
Did we take it up already? We didn't take
We
that
did
up already?
not.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll come up tomorrow. Once we dispose of this, we will take up the next one, too.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator. All right. This one needs a lot of love, all right. The bill and the amendments will be special ordered at the appropriate time tomorrow. We've got one more. Where are we? Second reader still. All right. This is Special Order Calendar 28. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 381, Senator Smith, Natural Resources, Wildlife Trafficking Prevention. Question is on the adoption of the amendment offered from the floor by Senator Huff.
All right, we brought this back to second reader, had an amendment. Question is on the amendment. Chair recognizes the senator from Howard and Carroll counties on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've talked to all the parties involved, and this is a favorable amendment.
All right, no objection on the amendment. Chair recognizes the senator from Prince George's. And
yes.
On the amendment?
I'm sorry, I have an amendment.
Okay, all right, let's take up this amendment. Any further discussion on this amendment? Any objections? Without objections, the amendment is adopted. Chair recognizes the senator from the 27th District has an amendment on the bill.
Yes, members, that amendment is being handed around to you.
Right.
The amendment number, the last three are 1271.
All right, give us just one half a moment, Senator. Is it a sponsor amendment?
Sponsor amendment.
Senator may explain the amendment.
Yes, just adding, wanted to add on to the, as a co-sponsor for the bill, once the senator from District 4 sent it back to second reader, we requested the amendment.
Excellent, excellent. Join in on the fun. All right, any objections to the senator's amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. All right, are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 381 is again ordered printed for third reader. All right, senators, the desk is clear. Great work today. This was really great work today. We got through a lot. Let's do committee announcements. Chair recognizes the chair of the Finance Committee.
Finance will meet at 1 p.m. We have 9 bills to hear, and following our hearing members, we will remain in the hearing room to have a discussion on a very important bill with interesting parameters, Senate Bill 275. Make sure we know what we're doing before we have a hearing.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair recognizes the Chair of the Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs will meet at 1 p.m. for bill hearings. I believe we have education bills today. We have 11. We'll meet at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Taxation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Budget and Tax will meet at 1 o'clock for bill hearings, followed by voting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet today at 1 o'clock for bill hearings, followed by a voting session.
Excellent. All right. Any other standing committee announcements? Any delegations, select committees, general announcements? All right, before we do a quorum call, just a quick note, Senators, about the ceremony tonight at 6 o'clock. One of the duties that I've come to learn quite a deal about in the last 2.5 years has been the State House Trust, which is the management of the campus and particularly of our historic State House, which is a national landmark. And I mentioned this at the beginning, but I just wanted to sort of give some context. One of the things that we will be doing tonight is lighting the dome with the colors of the Ukrainian flag. And the lighting of the dome is something that our former President Emeritus, one of the things that he said was, don't forget the State House Trust. Don't forget the State House Trust. It matters. And the reason is that this is a historic national monument. We have the oldest actively run State House in the country. And so the idea of lighting it is something that, using it as a, what could be perceived in other situations as a prop is something that we take very, very, very seriously. And I have always opposed the lighting of the dome for other causes. But for this particular one, it is so extraordinary, and it is such an important moment to demonstrate solidarity with the world. I supported the governor's request to light the dome and think it is the right thing to do to send the message that we here in the state of Maryland, the home of democracy, the longest running state house in the entire country, stand with the people of Ukraine to support their democratic system at a time of autocratic oppression. And so just wanted to kind of give that context because it is not something we do very often and was not taken lightly. So appreciate Senator's indulgence on that context. Yes, Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. In that vein, I wonder if it might be appropriate to have the Senator from District 14's remarks from earlier today journalized.
Certainly, we will. Absolutely, Senator. Thank you for reminding us on that. Absolutely. Thank you. Chair recognizes the Senator from Prince George's.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. May I ask a question here? We're talking about this gathering tonight, but have we had a discussion relative to divestiture? We want to divest. We don't want a dollar of a taxpayer's money going, and not only that, but we need to come up with a full-blown understanding that we are in opposition to what is going on, and we need to divest from Russia. We don't want a dollar to go to them. We want to send that message to the companies, to anybody in the state of Maryland, that it's unacceptable. Are we moving in that direction?
Senator, we are doing an informational hearing, I believe. Chair recognizes the Senator or the Chair of the Pensions Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Madam Senator. Yes, so the Pension Subcommittee, the Joint Committee actually between the House and the Senate, we will have a briefing tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 with the state pension system to better understand the investments we have through our pension system and the federal requirements that came down just this week, and then have a discussion about what could be done in next steps. So it's tomorrow at 12:30 over Zoom.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you. Important issues. All right, again, 6 o'clock, everyone is invited. It's on Lawyers Mall, the vigil this evening. So if you're available and able, would love to see folks there, if you can make it, All right, anything else before we do a quorum call? If not, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 43 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Thursday, March 3rd at 10 a.m.
Without objection, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Stay safe. Have a great day.